It's so funny. I'm on the Grapevine Variety Hour. I was the person that walked in New Jersey through Grape Fest, ended up being the Grapevine chair, being a Panel 73 delegate. I'm done. We got a nice way of closing. So I'm done. I'm ready to. All right, guys, wrap it up. Take down the equipment. Let's go.
I heard it through the grapevine.
Welcome. It's the AA Grapevine Half-Hour Variety Hour featuring the collective voices of Alcoholics Anonymous. I am Olis, an alcoholic in beautiful Oakland, California.
Hey, Olis. Hey, everybody. I'm Sam, an alcoholic in Palm Springs, California.
Hey, Sam. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
I heard from a little birdie that you had a fabulous gathering.
I had a meet and greet. Thank you so much for introducing me to Francine. We met for coffee and had a quick little chat. Oh my gosh, getting to sit down with Francine. Hi, Francine. And chat.
We love you, Francine.
Wonderful thing. And that's one of the things that I love about Alcoholics Anonymous. Yeah. You know, as soon as I know that you're a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, all of the fluff gets out of the way and we can talk.
There are no strangers in Alcoholics Anonymous. We know each other.
Yes. When I go to meetings, when I travel, it's just meeting friends I haven't met yet.
When I travel and I go to meetings, I like to go around, and I even do this where I live, and shake hands with everybody in the room and say hello. And then once I've done that, I stand at the door if there's not a greeter, or I join the greeting team and greet. Because when you're a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, you're at home in every meeting.
You know, I hear you.
I heard the but.
There's a but. I am really good at one-on-one or little tiny group conversations, 2 or 3 or maybe 4 of us.
Yeah.
But you put me in anything that's close to being a social gathering, a party. And that's what the meeting before the meeting is. I am not the one to go up and introduce myself. Never have been.
You know, I am deeply introverted. Solitude is my favorite place, which isn't the same as isolating.
Agreed.
But one of the things that's happened for me in Alcoholics Anonymous is a desire to make other people feel what I've felt, which is I'm not just invited, I'm welcomed. And I want to extend myself and make people feel welcome. Man, we're happy to see you. Come on in. There's bad coffee and cheap cookies right here.
And you know, there's always room to grow. And I think we nailed down a place for me.
Yes, that's right. So, Sam, it's the 4th anniversary or the Grapevine.
Folks, we're recording on the 4th of October, and that marks the 4th anniversary of the AA Grapevine Half-Hour Variety Hour. We are now officially, as you're listening to this, in our 5th year.
In our 5th year.
Wow. What a journey this has been. I could never have predicted when I first came into these rooms of AA that this would be something that would be part of my life.
Unbelievable. When you guys asked me to join you, I am trained to say yes to Alcoholics Anonymous, and I had no idea what I was saying yes to. These guys have acting voices. My God, they read a script. I cannot read and interact with people at the same time. My mind doesn't work like that. And you've pushed me to grow in these incredible, incredible ways. Thank you for the invitation. So that's my confession. Here is my request. If you're within the sound of our voice, that means you know that there's an AA Grapevine podcast. And I promise you that most of the people that you know in Alcoholics Anonymous do not know. And my request is that you go out and tell 12 people and ask them not only to listen, but if they enjoy the content, to actually support us by subscribing.
Which is only $2.99 a month. And that supports not just the podcast, that's all of AA Grapevine.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to read the Grapevine magazine and you still want to support the work that Grapevine is doing, then the Carry the Message Project lets you buy a subscription for someone else. That's a fantastic way to help people and help Grapevine. Olis, thank you for bringing that up. I am so glad we got to talk about the anniversary of the podcast, and I'm thrilled that you said yes.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. When we were in Vancouver, which I was kicking and screaming, grumbling under my breath the whole way to be in the Grapevine play. I'm not an on the stage girl. I'm going to go to a meeting and say hello to everybody, but I'm not going to get on stage. But Don was so excited. So I was grumbling.
I mean, Don's the ham. We know that.
He's the total ham. And I get to the play. Who do I see in the cast? My friend. And she is today's guest.
Well, today's guest, as you well know, Olis, is Marcheta B. in Plainfield, New Jersey. And afterwards, we're going to have a hashtag Heard in a Meeting segment.
No matter what, dealing with adversity and sobriety is a Grapevine book full of powerful stories of AA members about using the tools in the fellowship to get through the tough times in sobriety. It includes helpful stories about illness, divorce, financial loss, death of a child or sponsor, house fires, and more. Great for members going through difficult times. Find it under Books in the Grapevine store, online, or in the app.
Marcheta B. from Plainfield, New Jersey, which is Area 44. And my home group is Booze You Lose. And I cannot not say, if you're ever in Plainfield on a Wednesday night at 7:30, come on by. It's the best home group in New Jersey.
Yeah, well, if your home group's not the best home group around, then you got to make it the best.
That's right.
Marcheta, would you tell people when you got to Alcoholics Anonymous and what was happening that made you come?
I arrived in 2005, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and I was searching for my inner child. So I wanted to go to therapy to find my inner child because I couldn't stop drinking.
Yeah.
Right? And so I didn't understand the concept of stopping drinking or just stopping drinking in that moment. I didn't understand any of that, but I did understand pain. And I did understand staring in the tunnel at the D train and wondering if it would be a good idea to jump.
Yeah.
And so let's go to Intergroup, which is what we usually do in New York. And they had a phone number. Shout out to those people, right? PI and treatment and cooperation with professional communities, because they're the first line, so the first group of people we meet. And my therapist, she said, "Are you done?" I said, "No, I'm not done. I just want to discuss my inner child." She said, "I think you need AA." I said, "I think I need another therapist," right?
That's right.
I don't know what it would even give her that impression. Maybe it was the driving up one-way streets, leaving pots on the stove, the fire department knocking on the door. Look, I don't know. And so that was my foray, because we approached Thanksgiving and that brown juice stopped working.
Yeah.
That Thanksgiving of 2005. And you all told me it was the jumping off place. I had no idea what that was. I wanted to jump in front of a train, but I didn't understand the unhappiest person. So there I was. The most honest thing I could ever say, probably then and now. Help!
Yeah. What's the difference between the jumping off place and jumping in front of a train?
Well, one is a permanent end to a temporary problem.
Yes.
And it would have never allowed those people who stayed up at night wondering what I was doing and how I was doing an opportunity for peace.
Yeah.
Alas, that phone call.
What phone call? The phone call to Intergroup?
The phone call to Intergroup, me stumbling and mumbling, and they say, I worked in Lower Manhattan, and they said something about a lunchtime meeting. I said, I will not walk into a place
where I might know people.
And they might know me, which is even more egregious.
Yeah.
Now, it's okay if you saw me on a Monday morning in my pajamas.
Right.
If I drive up a one-way street, bad directions, right? But alas, if you see me walk into the church, exchange views, then that's a problem. But I asked my sister who worked with me, who was telling everyone I came to work not smelling like the best cologne, but a overnight vodka, right? I don't know if they sell that, right? And I said, I need to go to this meeting, because she had already told everyone. And I walked in this meeting and I sat down and they said, it's a closed meeting. I had no idea. Closed, maybe they meant put on some clothes, take off clothes, because that's all, right? You just never know. I'm here for all of it. And the most important thing some meetings do is say, is there anyone new or just coming back?
That's right.
Because when they said, is anyone new? And I said, my name is Marcheta and I am an alcoholic. I didn't know the weight of that, but you all did.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
turned to my baby sister and said, you can leave now.
Yeah.
I
Ah,
still didn't know that where she left me, you all would pick me up.
there you go. And that's that jumping off point is also we get caught and
We get
not caught like red handed.
right.
Loving hands catch us.
The book calls it the flimsy reed. What appears
Ah,
to be the flimsy reed
Yeah.
turns out to be the loving hand of the creator, right?
yes.
I think I'm at the end. But nobody that I know is like, "Ooh, I'm excited" at the beginning.
Woohoo, I'm going to AA.
But we get here and it turns out the thing we thought was the worst thing could have ever happened was the best thing ever. So that meeting, did that
Mhm.
become your first home group?
That became my home group because every day at lunch hour, as I was starting to stop shake, it was the lunch hour meeting.
Yep.
And I
Okay.
walked over there, and you know how your step gets lighter as you anticipate something?
Yeah.
At first, it's a heavy
Ah,
thing. It's almost like
yes.
I was carrying that bag of all my past mistakes. But
Yeah.
slowly but slowly, I started skipping in the meeting. And then
Yeah.
people said things that was even more profound. Get a meeting near where you live,
Yeah.
right? It's one thing to come to a meeting lunchtime, but a home group close to your home. What if there's a snowstorm? What if
There
you're
you
not
go.
coming to work that
Yeah.
day?
Yeah. I did the same thing. I found a lunchtime meeting Monday through Friday, and I'd grab lunch on the way and then sit in the meeting and eat. And it was the first place that I really attached to. And I did the same thing. I found a meeting closer to my house, but I didn't stop going to that meeting. I still love that meeting. Shout out to the Rap at Noon.
Yeah.
Marquita, you said that that was a closed meeting. What is that?
Well, then I found out that a closed meeting is for those of us who have a problem with alcohol and a desire to stop drinking,
Hmm?
as opposed to an open meeting. You guys told me an open meeting is just sometimes in New York and in New Jersey, we might get someone from the medical community sitting in on
Hmm?
it. We might
Yes.
get a family member, and that's an open meeting. Where a closed meeting is, okay, now I'm really talking about my alcoholism, and my expectation, as small as it might be, is that you are also identifying and wanting help and also able to offer me help.
Yes.
It just so happened I was able to turn to my sister, and that kind of deepened our relationship as well because I was upset with her because she was telling on me, right?
Hmm.
And you know what? She remembers every November me saying to her, "You can leave now."
Yeah. They got me.
They got not having a concept of what was in store for me actually made me more willing.
Yeah.
But I knew where I didn't want to end up, right? I had an idea where I was. The fear of where I was going had to become greater.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
Yes,
no
right.
yes,
longer
yes.
scared of the future. And so,
Yeah.
but that's a very subtle thing. Like, what is this language, these acronyms, these
Yeah.
people?
There's a lot to pick up, isn't there? And it's not something that we get in that first meeting.
Exactly. And also, why were they sharing such secret things, like such
Hmm.
private things?
Hmm.
What about when people share what happens when life shows up?
Yeah.
Whether it's the divorce, the deaths, the births, the jobs, the retirement,
The health diagnosis.
the health of someone else, right? And they say, but I didn't drink. Magical.
Yep.
Because for
Yes.
someone with 3 days, I mean, some of us will drink because we stomped our toe, right?
Hmm.
Like at 2 o'clock in the morning. And to hear someone say at the end, more than one person,
Right.
but I didn't drink, as if that's not even an option.
Right.
They said cancel all reservations, right? Like canceled,
The
done.
concept of no matter what,
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
I won't drink, I don't drink no matter what is foreign when I get here. Because there's all kind of, you hear this all the time in meetings. People are like, well, I have to toast at my child's wedding. You don't have kids. What are you talking about, right? We construct all of these
Oh, yeah.
things that are excuses about why we have to drink. And the beauty is when you come in and you see people face life as it comes. Page 13, Bill W. in his story
Mhm.
talks about, are you ready for certain trials and low spots?
That's right.
And we don't drink.
So, how do we get to that point?
One of the biggest things I needed, my sobriety date had to be written in a Sharpie. I couldn't write my sobriety date in a pencil or chalk because now it's movable based or contingent upon things outside of me.
Yeah.
Mom, dad, inner child, siblings, relationships. I say that again, relationships. What about the other relationship, right? And then the relationship. And so the minute I decided that my sobriety date wasn't going to change, then that's the no matter what, that's the going to any lengths. Are you willing to go to any lengths? In addition to that, once I had sponsors tell me this wasn't an intellectual exercise and I wasn't going to get that exam and that light blue book. You remember the light blue book in college?
The exam book.
The exam, when I had sponsors tell me real clearly, because see, I know was a favorite line of mine. Oh, and no matter what you said, I know. You said, did I know how to fly a plane, take apart a boat? I know, I know, I know. And when you have a sponsor who hears that and said, this is nothing intellectual, my dear. The insanity and also to get better, right? The spiritual experience, the spiritual awakening, right? And so for me, it took sponsorship. And guys, I needed to believe what you were saying.
Yeah.
So how did you find a way to believe us?
I had to keep coming back for the loophole. The fine print, right? Fine print. It's the thing I don't know that's going to be the thing that undoes it. So I'm watching. But while I'm showing up, a crazy thing happens.
What happens?
It gets me. Next thing you know, I'm talking the language. One day turns into two, turns into weeks, turns into months, turns into years. And then the ultimate thing for me was having a sponsor super involved in service. But I tell you, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the life it gave me. It allows my mom to sleep, my job beyond anything. To make a vision board, to be married now 16 years to my husband. I wanted to be married to Marcheta because I was perfect, right? So if you would have told me any of those things, I would have dismissed it. And of course, isolation. That's where shame and secrets start to fester. By yourself. Uh-oh. Now what?
I want to go back to this greeter thing, though. How do we properly greet someone?
Well, one of the most important ways I feel that I would share with a greeter is to ensure that you don't get caught up in just greeting the people you know. It's too easy for me to make a beeline to Olis and her smile and her energy and neglect the person shaking
in the corner,
using a different deodorant than me. Talk to me, somebody.
Yep.
Is this an AA meeting?
Yep.
If someone says, someone sent me here, how am I going to respond? The word should always be welcome.
We interviewed a trustee who was a non-alcoholic, and she is a judge. And she said this thing that really changed my perspective about the greeters. She said, sometimes the court invites people to AA, but once they get there, what are you going to do? How are you going to make them feel welcome? And it doesn't matter how people got to us. What matters is how we help them feel like they belong, they're a part of, they're welcomed.
Exactly. You know, my old thinking is to go in the corner and observe with arms crossed who comes up to me.
Yeah.
You look like me or sound like me, right? So when I'm speaking to a sponsee, I kind of juxtapose that with, yes, get out of your zip code. And they'll tell me, well, I don't feel welcome. And I have to say, based on having to have done this, what did you do? The whole concept to me is a two-person process.
That's right.
Sometimes it's not a one-person process, right?
Yeah.
If that's my home group, if you ring my bell and come into my home, my initial greeting to you is to welcome you in. Then your role is to accept that. Now that's a relationship. That's where we relate to each other.
There's a guy named Frank in my area in Oakland. Frank sat in the back of the room. Frank talked to himself. Frank was odorous. We were like, oh, Frank is touching the cookies, right? And Frank was here for years that way. People never turned him away. They never made him feel unwelcome. Never. And I moved away. And when I came back, Frank was at the fellowship playing dominoes and sponsoring people. We don't know how we're going to change a life that then in turn changes other lives. So I'm with you on the greeter is a critical role.
It's time for hashtag heard in a meeting. We had an email exchange with Kirsten and Michael W. of Glen Allen, Virginia. Here are portions of it.
Kirsten wrote, "Hey, my husband is 34 years sober, and he's been writing down 3 lines every day that he's heard in a meeting. He's a super funny guy." We wrote back and said, "We have a feature called Heard in a Meeting. Why not send in your top picks?" Here's what they sent us.
I embrace finding out when I'm wrong because today I can be taught.
I love that one because I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, and as we heard from Marcheta earlier, I knew everything. You couldn't tell me anything. So I love that one.
You know, the whole full sentence, "I don't know," has become like, it's okay. I don't know.
Yeah, that I don't know, but I'll find out was a big one for me when I got in these rooms. Yeah. Sometimes I read the Bible. I know it's not conference approved literature, but I'll take a chance on it.
You know, I'm always a little bit wobbly when people quote the Bible in meetings, but the truth is that the book of Alcoholics Anonymous really encourages us to pursue or to explore a variety of religious thought. It says we should be quick to see where religious people are right. And I think it's a great thing to take a chance on, whether it's the Quran or the Torah, any religious text.
Yep. And the only thing I always think about is contempt prior to investigation, right? That is one that whenever I'm about to also balk at certain references and things in meeting, I use that as a stop.
AA is where I first heard and incorporated in my way of looking at life. Take what you need and leave the rest. If I'm not listening, if I'm not trying things on, how am I going to know what fits?
That's right.
You're 12 steps away from any problem you think you might have.
I really like this one. When I got here, I thought the 12 steps were like a checklist, like a to-do list, like a homework assignment, and I was going to do them and be done. What I didn't realize is that they are tools that are always available. And if I apply those tools to my problems, there's no problem that can't be solved.
Absolutely. I actually tried to be upset that there was a step for every problem. Like when I found that out, I was, wait, so that's power. So wait, so that's powerlessness? You're telling me I have to believe? What?
Yeah.
To ask for shortcomings to be removed, right? So I love that. And I remember trying to do just the opposite to see if it wasn't so. But there it is.
Indeed. Isn't it amazing that the answer to all your problems is helping someone else with theirs?
It's so counterintuitive. I got to Alcoholics Anonymous and people asked me to do things like, like clean the ashtrays. That's how long ago I got here. Put chairs up, like do things. And I was like, I have real problems. What are you talking about? Because there is this paradox in Alcoholics Anonymous, this spiritual trick that the way that I solve my problem is to help you solve your problem.
Can't make that up. Lost my dear, dear youngest brother to acute chronic alcoholism. Come to a meeting, I really want to sit down and just clutch my pearls. Literally, baby of the family. There was 8 of us, and now there's 7. Someone walking up to me asking me to sponsor them at one of the most lowest times of my life, where I could have easily said, this is not the time. But it was. And I will never forget walking through that journey. And it's a forever journey. Grief has no expiration, right? But because of that young woman that day at my home group, there it is, that helping someone else so that my problems didn't go away, but the noise certainly decreased.
Yeah.
Yes. The last drunk wasn't the worst, but it was the one that ended the debate.
You hear it all the time in Alcoholics Anonymous. Like it was just a regular day. It wasn't even my worst drunk, but I got here. This is what I think of. Your bottom is where you stop digging.
Yeah, I definitely had some much worse drunks than that last one, but that last one was the one was like, oh, I really can't do this.
I really am defeated.
I mean, my throat lining was burning and I was drinking it straight, brown juice. No umbrellas, no pineapple, no cherries,
Yeah,
no
man.
ice. It was brown juice. And it was the burning of a throat lining ended the debate.
It takes what it takes, and it's different for each one of us.
Everybody.
He goes on to write, and yes, I listened to your podcast, and you might find a zinger or two in the 35,000 that I heard from you. Thank you for your service, Michael W., Glen Allen, Virginia, and concludes with a statement, what a wonderful life I've had. I only wish I realized it sooner.
I just love that. Thank you for sharing all of your beautiful jewels that you've gotten, Michael.
Michael, Kirsten, thank you so much for writing into us. We really appreciate it. Marcheta, thank you so much for sitting down with us.
That was a lot of fun.
I'm Don W. I'm an alcoholic from Franklinville, New York. My sober date is January 6, 1979. I subscribe to the Grapevine because it's a meeting in my pocket. It's something I can share easily with other people. And it's got great articles and comedy. And also, if I'm called on to chair a meeting, there's always meeting topics that come out of the Grapevine that are great. So, yeah, that's why I subscribe.
Thanks to everyone who subscribes to the Grapevine magazine in print or in the AA Grapevine app. Your support makes this podcast possible.
$3 a month? Come on.
I'm at the very wit's end. Cuckoo.
What do you call a drunken goblin?
A boozer.
It's really not that funny. Thanks for joining us. The AA Grapevine Half-Hour Variety Hour is posted every Monday and is produced by AA Grapevine, Inc. We don't speak for AA as a whole. We share the experience, strength, and hope of members to help others recover from alcoholism. All things Grapevine are available at aagrapevine.org, including our app and how to get in touch with us. Find us on Instagram and YouTube. If you want to know more about AA, visit aa.org or search online for Alcoholics Anonymous and your city.